Perfect. So today we're going to talk about the Algo Center Mall collapse and how this might be a lesson in engineering for all of us. So just as a quick backgrounder, shopping center like the Algo Center Mall did have a very large impact on the local economy and its population following its construction back in 1979. The mall itself was home to an inn, retirement center, Shoppers Drug Mart, among many others back in 1980.
Some structural floors, which was recorded from both Scotiabank location and the Elliott Lake Private Public Library, when were considered moving from the mall to another location in order to avoid water and mold damage to the goods. For the library, topsoil were used to cover the bookshelves to prevent damage. As for the Scotiabank branch, it began construction at the new location due to the decreased foot traffic. There were reports of bucket ladders over the mall to catch water leaks. Also, a Starlight Cafe which was profitable and popular, according to reports following its opening in 2007. At this time, the owner was not made aware of the leaks as they were not apparent at first. A similar story goes to a locally owned restaurant named Hungry Jack's, which unfortunately had a piece of concrete fall through the ceiling into their restaurant. Following filed reports of incidents, city inspectors nor the mall manager showed up or replied respectively following the incident.
Right, so following these, there was some health and safety inspections. It would be reasonable to assume that there are levels or lines of defense for safety and security of standing structures. Examples of these could be architects, engineers, health and safety officers, among others. It's evident that some issues were in fact being addressed. Like, for example, the mall itself was fined $50,000 or that cost in renovation following a guilty plea in provincial courts. It was just for installing like fire prevention sprinklers, plumbing, etc. It was also reported that the Ontario Ministry of Labour visited the mall 6 separate times, 3 years preceding the deadly incident, just to ensure adherence to the code.
So now for the ethical issues surrounding the case study. According to Pynchon Ltd., a renowned engineering firm tasked with restoring the corrosion and water damage in the Algo Center Mall that was deemed not of structural significance, the following disaster made it clear that many unpublicized structural problems at the mall dated back to its construction in the late 1970s need to be addressed. After some problems were found in 2010, Bob Nazarian, the owner of Eastwood Incorporated, hired Peak Restorations tasked with repairs of the known structural defects. There are reports that only a fraction of the money owed was paid to Peak Restoration after the completion of their work. The business owners were not made aware of the leaks and damages until well after their leases had already gone into effect.
And the case focuses on Bob Nazarian, the owner of Eastwood Incorporated, which he purchased for $6.2 million on August 5th, 2000, and the ethical responsibilities of the actor in related to this case. Despite being aware of significant structural issue with the building, Bob Nazarian neglected proper restoration and pressured engineers to sign invalid reports due to financial concerns.
The ethical issues, challenges, and dilemmas of this case are safety versus cost, which is a common ethical dilemma in many industries like construction. The collapse raised questions about prioritizing safety over cost. Investigation found neglect and inadequate maintenance caused the collapse, and the owners knew about these issues for years but did not act. Lack of transparency and accountability raised concerns for the public, media, and victims' families.
Some options they could have taken to prevent this strategy are regular inspection and maintenance, proper waterproofing, and the use of appropriate materials.
Analyzing the alternative options. With regular inspection and maintenance comes assurance that your building won't just suddenly collapse. It's important so you can detect any structural weakness or issues before they become problematic. Number 2, using proper waterproofing would also prevent the leaks and collapse of the mall. And lastly, the use of appropriate materials, such as support beams, concrete, and proper waterproofing material that would support the intended load.
We believe that option 3 would probably be the best, because using the proper materials and supplies that would support the load and use of the mall from the beginning of construction would ultimately prevent the collapse.